There it goes. Now everybody can hear you.
Right.
Yeah.
It's in the spot.
Look who's in front of the bench.
Looks like the baby.
The old one, not the new one, right?
Yes.
Down in the audience. There's not enough chairs up to you, Ann?
He doesn't want to sit down.
Just stand over here.
He's more comfortable down there.
Comfortable, right here.
This is his way of saying that we better not go over the time limit. Y'all better keep it to a minimum.
You read me right? She's on.
I can read people. It's okay. I got the same energy.
All right, so this is the February 28th meeting of the FMAC Flood Mitigation Advisory Committee of the Village of Mamaroneck. As we all know, if we need to egress in an emergency, left and right, there's no smoking in the room. Okay, let's see. So I think the only thing that I want to do, not the only thing, I want to talk about the Army Corps meeting, okay?
Is that the first on the agenda?
No, I don't, this agenda looks messed up. Welcome is the first one,
And then meeting info.
meeting info.
You gotta go over the notes.
So the notes, so that's the Army Corps meeting. Where are my notes? Oh, yeah, they're right there on the seat.
Good job.
Okay, so item 3A is the note. So item 3 is the February 15th meeting of the Army Corps, the village at the Mamaroneck. It was Leilani, Jerry, our village manager, and myself. And we met with Bethany McClanahan, who was the project manager. And there was another gentleman there whose name I can't remember.
I think Gino was there too,
Oh, right, Gino
our engineer.
Fabrizili. Is that how you say it?
Who knows?
Patty, you're Italian.
Ceiling.
I said it wrong several times.
Watch out. Got the mafia on this side.
I'm not Italian, I'm Sicilian.
Oh, wait. I'm half Sicilian, so now you're really in trouble.
Right. Yes, Gina was there also.
Your pizza.
Okay. All right, so the notes, let me see if I can find the notes.
You want me to try to pull them up?
I got them, they're right there.
Okay.
Okay, so Daniel Kim was the other person from the Army Corps, and Daniel Kim is their structural engineer. So he came out, he's the engineer in charge of the demo of the Ward Avenue Bridge. And I guess he'll be part of the team designing the new project, right? So he came out, he went down and looked at it. As you may know, the dimensions of the new bridge are going to be probably about double the width of the old bridge. And they're going to expand onto the east side. There's a little park
That's
there.
the channel width, isn't it?
It's going to be about, right, so it's going to, it's, I think right now, the holes from span to, from abutment to abutment's about 40-45 feet. It's going to be about 80 to 85 feet, something like that.
Wow.
And in this case, it was good because the village had the land, and I don't know how much higher, Bernie. That's a good question.
The Tompkins Bridge you're talking about?
No, Ward
Ward
Avenue,
Avenue,
Ward,
okay.
the down, right.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
all right, so just to go through what we talked about. All the previous questions, I said I would summarize all the questions and all the answers we have to date and send them to Bethany and let her fill in what she hasn't answered yet. Because I think from Peggy, there are still some questions she didn't answer. So she agreed to
Sort
that.
of, I think you all did a presentation, a very brief presentation a couple of months ago. You were at the day, they were up here, you were at the podium, and you asked those questions. I think that was a query, was whether or not they came back with the response with the questions you asked back, I think in November.
No, at that time, we also asked for the answers to some of these questions that I don't think we still have. So, yeah, they have not sent some of those answers yet. Okay, so Patty, maybe you could help me on that. Because you said you're very facile in writing. Okay, all
Absolutely.
right, great. All right.
So what is Patty gonna help with?
The
Summarize the questions that weren't answered.
summary so I'd like to summarize all of the questions that got asked and answered. And then at the bottom have the ones that were asked and unanswered. And I think we probably have a lot of repeats, so maybe we can just, shrink it down.
Do you have a list of those questions?
I have the questions
Yes,
that
the-
were
that-
sent
that,
from
Peggy sent.
Peggy.
Yes, okay, I was gonna pull it up, but, okay.
And then, so I'll send you what I have, Patty, okay? Okay,
There, and can I just say, there's also some questions that I got answered from on the villages part, so I can.
but are those the questions for tonight?
From the Peggy questions that,
No,
okay, then, but those questions I did get
the
answered.
ones, right, so that's an
Yeah.
agenda item,
Okay.
hopefully I do have it on there. All right, so sort of I guess, not, are we on Zoom here?
We're on Zoom,
Yeah,
you're good, it's this one.
okay.
Is that with?
All right, so
Is that
one-
what the public can see?
Yes, because it's saying 6 participants.
So they can't see you? Tony.
That's probably a good thing.
It's the camera.
I guess I don't need to see them, right?
Well, no, you don't have to, you should want it in front of you, because if somebody has their hand raised, you would want to keep it in front of you.
Okay. All right, so item 3 on this notes could be, you could, the good, the bad, and the ugly, or, a glass half full or a glass half empty. That's item 3 here. So there's this thing called the PPA, Project Partnership Agreement.
Mhm.
This thing has not been signed yet. So this is a document that has to get signed between the Army Corps, New York DEC, the county, and the Village of Mamaroneck. And I think part of it is that it's like a scope of work and a funding agreement, right? Now, all the village funds will be paid from the Army Corps project, from the Army Corps, from the state, and from the county. So right now, we don't have any skin in the game. And, but this agreement has to be signed. So right now, the Army Corps is preparing it. Why it took them so long to prepare it is beyond me, but whatever. And they said the project manager McClanahan said she's hoping to get it to in the hands of all the parties by June and get it signed back in July. Jerry said he would push the issue the minute he gets the document. But until we get the document, there's not too much we can do. Once this document is signed, then the Army Corps starts the design of the project elements. So the design of the project elements are the Ward Avenue Bridge replacement, other bridge replacements and removals, river narrowing and river widening and channeling, Columbus Park. I think that's it. That's it. So at that time, she also said that they would talk to us about the tweaks, right? So on the tweaks, the flood mitigation through the village, we asked for a look at a couple of things. One is, and we had asked this really not through a tweak, we had asked this already like a year ago, to do an H&H study, hydrology and hydraulic restudy based on Ida's flows, right? Because was Ida so bad that they really need to reconfigure some of that stuff out. So Bethany said that when that project PPA is signed, they will come down and start the H&H study. As part of that study, we asked the other day, the 15th, that in Harbor Heights, they include the 2 bridges that are problematic.
What is considered, Winfield, and is that considered a bridge to nowhere? Or?
No,
No.
Winfield is the bridge, and then
Yeah,
the
road to
second is the
nowhere.
road to nowhere, so it's really one bridge and the road to nowhere. So look at those 2 and to find out what can be done up there besides raising 8 houses. Do they have to raise more houses? We've asked this thing many times, but should we get rid of the bridges and will it help? And will getting rid of the road to nowhere help? And will widening the channel up there help the way they're going to do it in the rest of the village? So we have to send them an email on that, Leilani.
Who?
We have to send one to Jerry to remind them to send them that request. That's a request that we have to put in writing.
Okay, I'm sorry, I was distracted, so you have to tell me again
So I have to send you an email.
to send to the ACE?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the village has to send one to the ACE to say they desire to have the H&H study
Yes.
in Harbor Heights include the
So there's
road to nowhere. And what is it, the Winfield Avenue Bridge?
Winfield Avenue Bridge, and we also can include that, because when I'm sending that to the board, I also am gonna send it a letter, because some of the residents in not in Harrison, in the Heights, around the area where the reservoir is, or they're concerned about the road to nowhere. And they're concerned about that, the bridge, the Winfield Bridge, and the road to nowhere, and also the development that may be coming into that area, which is Harrison. We can't do anything about it, but what we can do is ask Harrison if we can be involved in their studies, we can be involved in, how these things affect us as a community. So I have to send that to the board before we can all make a decision to send to Harrison's planning department. Requesting us to be out,
Be an interested party.
be an interested party. Thank you very much. So if I could do that this week, so that'll be on the next agenda for the next board meeting, which is March 13th.
All right, do you need a motion from the committee to do that?
Do we?
So.
Who's the expert around
All
here?
right, so you're,
You don't need a motion for me to,
no, not for this.
no.
The point, you just said that you wanted to send a letter to the board.
Mhm.
Speaking about the development in Harrison.
Yes,
And that the village should be an interested party.
yes.
I think that as the liaison,
I don't need.
what we're asking as our liaison, that's our request. We're acting as our liaison to contemplate and consider doing that. And as part of doing that.
If you guys as a board want to be on
Right.
board, but I had already said I was done.
Right. So that gets that, so we don't need a motion or anything like that. We are, as a group, are asking, so you don't have to vote and blah, 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 it's
Okay, so you're just gonna do it.
Yes.
Okay, great.
awesome, right?
Okay, all right, okay,
So you're gonna do that this week?
I'm gonna do that this week. I'll send out the, I believe I have to send it.
Can I ask a couple of quick questions?
Go ahead.
So they're gonna sign the PPA. And then you said then they're gonna start doing the design. Is it starting the design or gonna finish the design? Because it seems like they're saying that Ward Avenue, they're giving you some tips on what's gonna happen. So it sounds like some of the design is,
I think it'd probably be to finish.
drawn up a little bit.
well, they said they were gonna start design, right? They said that the information that I guess the funding that was approved to date was to do the design of the demolition of the Ward Avenue Bridge. This is my understanding of that conversation we had with them. That once this PPA is signed, they can start the real design of the replacement bridge at Ward Avenue, along with a bunch of other stuff that I'm gonna read to you. The discussion on the sizing of the bridge comes from, I guess, I think from the study, the feasibility study, where they needed to widen it, and based on the H&H study, the modeling, right? That's the size they need. The model is saying they need 80 feet, something like that.
You get what I'm saying? Like, it sounds like they're letting you in on some of the stuff that they're doing.
I don't think they're doing a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, she was pretty clear that once this PPA is signed, they'll start design. I mean, I'm sure they've looked at that and they've had well, I'm pretty sure, let's face it, engineers, you talk about stuff and, they've been asked in that bridge to have a historic component to meet the H&H study. So there's elements of the design that they know they have to incorporate in the design. But whether they put pencil to paper, I don't know.
Okay, because,
She said no.
because I'm wondering if they're starting it or they're going, or they're in process.
No.
Because-
It's gonna take them a year to design it.
Oh, so it's gonna take a year to design it. So does anyone know what's gonna happen to Anita Lane Bridge? Are they taking that out? Because that seems to be
Okay, so
sore
that,
spot in everyone's.
all right, so let's do this. Let me go through all the project elements
Okay.
and then we'll go back to that.
Okay, all right.
So basically, an H&H study, so this is project design, H&H study of the entire project area, meaning everything. And please remind me, the DEC guy is coming here Thursday at 10 o'clock. So I need some help walking him around. The H&H study, including the Harbor Heights, the Glendale Avenue and the Winfield Avenue Bridge. Design of removal and reconstruction where applicable. So the bridges, Ward Avenue, the design of the demolition is complete. They're gonna get it out to bid for demo soon. And then the new bridge is gonna be 85 feet, approximately, not 45 feet. There are 2 footbridges, one on the Sheldrake and one in Columbus Park, I guess.
There's 2 on each.
2 on the Sheldrake, right? Those 2, so they're in the plan, they're coming out and they're not supposed to be replaced. They're gonna talk about the parking lot, tunnel/channel, right? Whether it's gonna be an open channel. My feeling is, and I think we're gonna need help on this, Leilani, is that there's a lot of cars parked in there now, being that COVID is over. For us to get an open channel there, how are we gonna do it? And what do we have to do between our committee and the village? We can't go before the Army Corps and say, we want an open channel if we haven't decided that we'll give up on the parking.
I think right now from even yesterday's meeting, they were discussing that parking lot. Because what used to be a full parking lot, it's no longer been a consistently full parking lot because of COVID, and people are either hybrid and going in half days or, shifting Tuesday, Thursday, or Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So I'm not sure if it will continue to be a problem or we just have to shift. And they're also thinking about how I think it's the MTA is thinking about like the parking, outside of that one large parking lot, the parking along the train station, how would that look? So they are talking about it. So I'm not sure if it's gonna be a huge problem.
Also, there's that back lot, and there's not even, people don't even park there anymore.
Right.
So that's already
Where
another,
is that lot?
That's
on the other side of the river. Across from the pork store,
Close to it?
across from the pork store.
right, which is, that's like the basketball court parking lot. Is that what you're talking about?
Right.
Is the sausage place.
Pecans.
That's the parking lot, my park out closet.
Oh, right.
Cones, okay.
All right, so finishing with what the design is,
But I will talk, I will.
all right, I think we might need that.
Here, you go over the bridge and then you go into this.
Columbus Park channel modifications, right? How are they gonna deal with Columbus Park? Non-structural house raising in Harbor Heights. So the non-structural house raising in the is something that the Army Corps generally does not do.
My notes.
So they're looking in-house for developing a process so that they can do that, right?
Or use the house raising.
Okay, all right.
But they also were entertaining the thought of using those funds to fix the bridges or adjust.
Right, so the H&H study is gonna come first. The
Yes.
H&H study should tell them and us that, okay, if they get rid of the bridges, maybe they don't have to raise any more houses or not, right? So the H&H study and the outcome of that is the driver, I'm pretty sure, in this area. They agreed to look at the tweaks, planning, design, and discussion of the Columbus Park Tunnel versus the open channel. The high H&H study, the H&H study in Mamaroneck in the Harbor Heights. And on the temp pumps, they said the Stephanie, Bethany will speak. I gotta call Bethany and see if she can find somebody in the Corps who's a pump expert. I'm gonna send her an email on that.
Because she did not outright shoot you down on that. You asked.
No, but she did say out and out that it was not part of the
No, it wasn't,
project.
but it wasn't exactly, but it also wasn't converse or contradictory to, it's parallel,
Right.
parallel. We would have to pay.
Pay for it.
Oh, yeah, well,
All right, so let's talk about other parts of the project. So Bernie, what was your question?
Well, are they gonna take the Anita, is the Anita Avenue Bridge involved in that?
My understanding is based on the feasibility study or the report of flood control from the Mamaroneck, Sheldrake. They didn't believe that the Anita Lane Bridge is a problem.
Is there utilities and stuff like that crossing that bridge?
Anita
Is that
Lane, I
why they're-
think, is a sewer bridge. Has a big sewer pipe on it.
Also, there's a sewer pipe on it.
Yeah, all that goes across that bridge is a sewer pipe. It's a big, huge, it's like, 4 feet in diameter.
Okay.
So I think the way to approach this is that in the report, and which is online, we really have to look at that the existing H&H study and get to understand it better.
Who has them?
So that's on the villages. So on the villages website, the original plan, the plan that got approved is on there. In there is the H&H study that was done for that plan. We have to really look at that and understand, like Bernie, your question, right? I think what they're saying is from that study, that bridge is not showing up as a problem. When you look at it, to me, it looks like a problem.
Yeah.
Right? Now there was a wing wall there that the county straightened out that wing wall, thanks to Peggy pursuing the county for like probably 5 years, and Andrew, right, Andrew?
I was reading something.
You weren't paying attention.
We could be distracted.
I was saying the wing wall, after you and Peggy went after the county for like 6 years, it got fixed on the Anita Lane Bridge.
If it's fixed, I absolutely, if it's not fixed, I know nothing about this.
It's fixed.
No, Peggy, very diligent about that.
Okay, okay, so other stuff that's just on here. So they agreed to meet quarterly with Leilani, me, and the village manager. To dredging, right? So not dredging, right? They don't use that word, right? They use silt removal, right? So they agreed that.
What
I wouldn't
channel?
say they agreed. They're under one of those general permits, Army Corps permits, like Army Corps permit number 1. Some silt removal will start. Did we start? I know they were buying did we start
Yeah,
already?
they started.
All right, so that started. Okay. All right, great.
Summer, if you took a picture and put it on Facebook.
Mhm.
Well, I saw the machinery, but not
They're not
They started.
necessarily moving, they're not permitted to remove silt, right? So they're moving like.
Big rocks and
Yeah.
things like that.
No, they cannot, because I spoke to Jerry yesterday. They're not permitted yet.
Oh, not yet?
Yeah, they're not permitted
Okay.
yet to remove this. That's the overall purpose of why they were trying to get the permit. But what was permitted is that they're able to remove river rock and some sand.
All right, Tompkins Avenue Bridge, I guess the village and staff have gotten funds from FEMA for a rebuild of that. Waverly Avenue Bridge is being rebuilt by the town of using Army Corps standards. The Army Corps believes that as flows improve downstream, things may improve upstream.
In conjunction to the Waverly Avenue Bridge, they're also going to still remove the footbridge on Center Avenue. That's gonna come out, and the Army Corps is gonna do that. Which is a major choke point for that particular area.
Right. The other question we asked was, what can we do to help them? And it was very clear, get the PPA signed, right? That's like, they have to get that signed. 'Cause
Pushing.
they
like,
have no, really, they have no funding right
You
now.
have to bring the paperwork to sign it. I mean,
We don't have to pay-
it's
yeah.
easy to sign.
Well, it's pushing like our legislators didn't push the DEC to really like sign it. So it's gonna be a big push so people can just continue. Cause it could be possibly put on the back burner, but if we continue to push like we just did, just to try to get the little permit that we got, the pushing helps.
Okay.
So that's what is gonna be needed from us as a community.
Right, so that's in summary, I mean,
Or
they were friendly. I wish they had done, no, I won't say anything. Yes,
Did you say anything about 0.5? The last one?
We're looking at the same thing.
the tweaks,
No. When you say other, that you mentioned dredging, Tom's Avenue Bridge.
oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Well, we mentioned to the DEC, to the Army Corps, that the DEC using SLR is gonna be doing the stormwater flows in the watershed, Sheldrake, Mamaroneck, and Beaver Swamp. And the man, Mark, that was on, was he on our last meeting?
Yes.
Briefly?
Did
He's
he
come-
send you the?
I sent him the flood marks.
Mhm.
I asked Jerry to send the village pictures to him. I'm pretty sure he got them. So he's coming Thursday, 10 o'clock. So I really.
Oh, he's the one who's coming first.
He's coming Thursday, right? So for Thursday, I can stay with him from about 10 to 12:30. So I was gonna start in Columbus Park. Then I need help.
Cannot.
Patty, excuse me,
What time are you meeting?
about 10 o'clock by the Modern on the Rails.
I'm around
So you'll be, so.
Thursday during the day.
Yeah. So can you take him? So I was gonna start with Columbus Park and then probably just walk. But I could walk up toward you. Right, by the school, or, I mean, you can meet us at the park if you want. And then can you, so maybe I'll do this, maybe I'll show him. I'll show him your area. Or your
To Hillside.
hillside, right? Maybe that's what I'll do Columbus Park, I'll take him up to Hillside. You can then take him to your area. Can you then walk, are you available at all, Andrew?
It depends on what time. I have 3 courts in the morning, but after like 1 o'clock. Or I could do it before, I could do it between one of my quarter appearances, like around 11 a.m.
If you're available after 1, then you can, after burning.
Right. I
He
could
can
do
go
it
with
after-
you.
Right, I could close up.
Okay. So why don't I do this? I'll show him Columbus Park. Then I'll take him
Hillside.
to Hillside Avenue.
Bernie
Then
can
I'll
meet you
walk over
there.
to it. I'll meet you. You can call. You got my cell, right, Bern?
I think so.
I think it'll be
Give it
best
to
for
me
him to
just in
go
case.
over at Hillside Avenue, or take him to where Bernie's gonna be, and then the drop off.
Does he want to look at just the Mamaroneck River?
They want to, their mission is at least I think their mission. I'd like their mission to be Thursday, to look at the Mamaroneck Sheldrake watersheds,
Okay.
right?
What about the beef?
Beaver.
Why don't I just meet you in Columbus and then we can Google map and let them decide where they want to go.
Okay.
And then we can show them.
We want to make
You wanna
sure
do
a
that?
certain areas
I
are.
want to make sure he gets to Hillside Avenue, the First Street, the Heights.
Okay.
Washingtonville
Mhm.
and
We really.
Industrial area.
Around with Beaver,
I'm not sure how long they're gonna stay,
yeah,
but are you gonna be around Thursday?
yes.
All right, so we'll talk to him at 10, and then unless you want to join us, you're welcome to join us.
Tony, if I get jammed up in one of the courts and we've walked.
Right, but I got a meeting
Oh.
too that
I'm
I'm,
free pretty much all day on Thursday.
all right, I'm gonna send you, I'll circulate the flood marks again. Cause I did it a while ago. I don't know if Bernie and Patty you have them. I'll send you the flood marks. So I went around with my tape measure. I went with Peggy. I went with, I don't know who, I went with a zillion people, Andrew, and I went to, like, I took a picture of a sign with mud on it, right? I think, and then I have a table. I think it's quite well organized, if I say so myself, but I think I erred on the side of being a little too high of the flood marks, but I tried to compare 2007 to Ida, and it seems like it was a couple of feet higher. So I'll circulate that tomorrow. This way we have it for Thursday. And then, and I'll print it. I'll print some out, okay? This way we'll have it, we can hand it to them, we can decide where we want to go, all right?
That's Thursday at 10.
Thursday at 10, modern on,
When do you want to talk before that, though, in the morning, right? Are you available in the morning?
yeah, I'll meet you, you want to meet at like 9:30 at Modern on the Rails?
We'll go to Hillside. You can buy me breakfast.
Where, the deli there?
Yeah.
I'll meet you there, I need my coffee.
Duncan's gonna get jealous of you.
Well,
They wanna know why their stocks are down, but you're not,
somebody's stuff, First Solar, you see First Solar today? Oh, my heavens, they're up like, this year, they're up like, I don't know, 500% or something. Anyway,
must see TV. Excuse me? It must see TV. On TV.
oh, I don't own any First
We got
Solar.
all the information out there, folks, and we're gonna do the weather in a couple minutes. Who's gonna do sports?
Right, that did not win last night. So. At least they got there.
It's half the battle.
All right, so that's as much as I have really on Army Corps and the DEC flood study.
Tony, I just want to point out that you had that meeting, and they came to the industrial advisory.
Oh, that's right. So can you,
Council.
You guys
what,
need
can
to
you,
shorten
can
that
you
name.
update, why don't you grab a mic and update everybody? I don't know if
Or
people can
speaking
hear
for
us.
one of these speakers.
Well, I'm not speaking into the mic.
Right here.
Those mics are not, those are
I'm
not,
just gonna speak right here.
yeah, that's fine, because the speakers are
Sure. So I'm one of the members of the industrial area business
Coalition.
coalition. Thank you. I'm making sure you're paid. It's composed of individual property owners and business owners, not just exclusively in the industrial area, but also in the business district as a whole. And I want to preface that it is completely separate and apart from the Industrial Advisory Committee, which was an ad hoc committee that was formed here by the Board of Trustees, and we're hoping to resurrect that, which I believe will be done in the next couple of months. But this committee is volunteer and quite motivated. The good thing is a lot of these individuals who are part of this committee really didn't know much about what we were just talking about. They heard about it, they thought about it, they saw things about it, but the fact that they were very much part of the exercise of hearing from the Army Corps, having the opportunity to ask questions was truly, I think it was appreciated. And I think it really carried a lot of weight because it took us all here a long time to get to that point. So they answered a lot of the questions, pretty much identical to what Tony just said. Went over a little bit. It took it to a little bit more of a fundamental level because we all are a little bit more knowledgeable about the ins and outs of the project. So they took it from more of an elementary component, starting from, hey, this is how many feet it's going to make a difference, blah, 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 going to the point shovel in the ground. It was informative, it was about 45 minutes, and great questions were raised. And it wasn't just again focused on the industrial area, but it was, Sheldrake, Mamaroneck River. And I think the response was very positive. And because what happens in our communities, we're very unique in that we have as many residents as we do businesses. Business owners and some of the commercial property owners can't vote. So the problem we were having is, well, our voice doesn't count. Well, that day, it did, it was heard. And I think it made a difference. And I do think that our administration, our elected officials are really honing in on that, saying, look, it's not, we're fortunate to have residents, families, but also this is home to businesses that are very much a part of the vitality of our community. I think that went a great distance. Tony was there, our building
I was
inspector was
gagged,
there.
They told me flat out I couldn't speak. That was fine.
Tony was there, it was great seeing him.
He had a similar meeting maybe an hour before.
So it was great to see, but the bottom line is, I think Patty was there, I think it was a really great presence. And I know the individuals who contributed to the vitality of this community really appreciate it. They felt like they were being heard and that their concerns were being addressed. Now, much like this chagrin and shock that we had when we first heard, oh, shovel on ground 4 years, it's like, wait, what? That same reaction was in that room. We had a very packed room, but again, it's not as easy. It's just shovel on ground. So we're hoping to continue the dialogue. I share our experiences. I share, the fact that Flood Mitigation Advisory Committee is present here. We're active and encourage individuals to reach out and participate here in this room when, even if the other committee, Industrial Advisory Council, coalition, wasn't active, we could supplement that. So I think working in concert is absolutely key. But I'm gonna point out one thing, and I don't know if this should have been added on extra items, but one thing that came up, and I think that's something that we all have to consider, and I think it's very important, is that we all talk about development. The fact that how detrimental it can be, not just, obviously, we know what happens when it's upstream because we end up at the bottom of the toilet. Okay, we're at the bottom, okay? But locally, in the industrial area, and this is something that came up on, I'm gonna say of 72 acres, 98% of the industrial area is right now today as pervious as this table. It's not. It's completely impervious. And one of the things we did during the Industrial Advisory Committee, when we had the consultants come in, we were playing with Legos and we were doing all kinds of different things, exercises. How can we take this and, other than raising it, what can you do to develop it responsibly so that you're not hurting your neighbor and you're not throwing water into the shell drain? And one of the things is, again, obviously being progressive with not just green roofs, but also the ability to store water on one's own property. Correct. The reason why I'm saying this is I want to be careful when we talk about development. It's not just taking a residential or a on C1 property where there's impervious surface, putting cement on it and then building on top of it. We need to think about how do we take something that's 98% impervious, be able to utilize that, but utilize it responsibly. So the reason why is a lot of times we have that knee-jerk reaction, which I share, is that development has to be responsible.
So, I'm sorry.
No. So my point of all this is that was something that came up during the course of our meeting, because what we're fearful of is, let's say, I don't care if you have a 5,000 square foot building or you have an 80,000 square foot building. If you want to raise it so that your electrical components don't get ruined every time there's water issues, raising it, how do you raise it? Well, you have to raise it, but you have to go through the permitting and zoning process. So it's a discussion that we need to have here is how do we protect the integrity of the community, but also understand that not every part of the community is the same in the sense that when you have 98% currently impervious, anything that you do, should not compromise your neighbors or the community as a whole, but would be an improvement. Because right now, I have this table right here, I pour water on it, it's gonna go. But if I am able to do something that keeps the water on my property, I'm making a difference, I'm contributing something. So I think we have to sort of have an open mind, not saying, okay, go and do this, not everywhere is similar to this. So I think it's an interesting dialogue. We don't need to come up with an answer tonight, but it's something amongst ourselves that we need to talk about. Because that's a concern that was raised, and it's something that we need to be cognizant of.
You talking about like regulatory type changes of the flood building in the flood zone?
Well, I know that we were talking about the overlay.
Yeah.
Overlay in the industrial area was, hey, you want to take this, let's just call this an acre. An acre that currently.
Move to that table so people can see.
Oh, I'm sorry. Take this table. It is an acre. Right now, this acre is completely impervious. You got a structure and a parking lot. There is no grass. The water goes right into the shelter acre, goes right into the, if you're able to take this acre and do something so that that water no longer just goes right out into the, onto the shelter acre or into the infrastructure, but maintain that water, whether it's through the green roof or on site, you're making a difference, whether it's 80%, 50%, you're not getting that water right out onto the street. And I think that that's something that.
Are the developers or the business owners in that community, do they want to raise, or are they thinking about it? So it's just anything that's coming in, this is something to think about, because they're not, the
I
people
think
who are there are not even.
I think that the topic came up because I know, for example, some of the properties, you can't get insurance anymore. You cannot, I can't get insurance, not only for structural damage, but for the contents. So if you have a business, you no longer can get insurance, and you're gonna, if you have a loft here in Mamaroneck, in our backyard, you can no longer, or you can get insurance, but guess what? You're going to be paying 250% more. Not 50, not 30, but 250% more, because unfortunately of items. So the point of this is, when we do talk about the future, how do we address this issue? And I cannot agree with you more. When you have an acre that is green, and you say, well, I'm gonna build 2 things on that, and we'll have some retention and this and that. I get where it's like, whoa, wait a second. Versus when you have 100% impervious, what can I do to save the integrity? Because at some point, the value will be 0. The value of the business is 0, and people will no longer want to invest in this community.
So Angel, couple of things. One is I was at that meeting.
Yes.
And I was not allowed to speak because I was a guest, which is fine. But I heard those questions about the development, and I maybe I heard a different question. I thought that was what was being asked was, doesn't development, knowing that the flats is and the industrial area is mainly impervious. I thought the concern that they were having was development in the other parts of the village where it becomes less pervious, was then creating more flood water for these areas.
Actually, I knew exactly what the question was, actually what we have been discussing for years. And in particular, last time we met here was when we say neighbors, Harrison, White Plains, Scarsdale. That's when, and that question was actually, what are we doing to stop that? And unfortunately, you were not permitted, but
So,
yes,
all right, so,
yes.
okay, so I said I had 2 things. So that was one thing. So my hearing of what was there was that question. I don't remember the question that you were discussing. The second thing, though, and Bernie had brought this up to me, was that our planner, so the village is going through a master planning exercise, right? The planner, whose name is Neil Desai, I think it is, and did you pull his stuff down off the web, Bernie?
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
To you. Okay, so the village is going through what we call a comprehensive plan update.
Oh. okay.
Everybody's on board with me here?
Oh, yeah, I pulled the information.
Okay, so in the comprehensive plan, to me, the real question is, how do we structure that comprehensive plan so that as the core starts to improve flooding in the village, I think we need to have that plan coordinate with those reductions in flood levels, right? Because it should drop the floodplain. That's the wrong word, but anyway, and then it will start to hopefully loosen up some of the insurance regulations.
I think, Tony, the problem is that we're having is that, you know, to take a building.
Let me just finish. So I think we as a committee need to look at that comprehensive plan and then figure out what do we think needs to be done, and then send an email to the board to, I don't know how we structure it right now, but to me, this is a big gap that we have, that if we're gonna have a new comprehensive plan, it should take into the Army Corps project.
Well, and the interesting thing about it, but it also take the 2021 vision. There was a committee that was done back in 2006.
Yes.
Maybe, okay, thank you. We met at the town center and it was very comprehensive. And one thing that I appreciated about that is that it did distinguish the fact that the village of Amerenik has such a unique blend of both resi, commercial and industrial. And that each sort of area, you can't take it in a vacuum. They have to complement each other, but they need to be treated differently. So one code, well, we have one code here. Apply to all. That's great, but not everyone has the same problems. My problem that I have isn't the same that you do. Because my solution that's besides another discussion. The solution for us, for this, may create a problem for you. So that's what I'm asking us to kind of be aware that there are times that are going to occur when, if you want to do something to this impervious surface, raise it so that the electrical components, whatever else, the hardware doesn't get repeat loss. Because once you have that repeat loss, you're never going to be able to get it back. But doing so in a responsible manner so that whatever water is falling down from the sky stays on your property. It's not just going there. So it was a very interesting course, and I didn't expect that to happen. It was a very interesting. We were hearing voices that normally aren't heard in this community, and it was something that in the course of our industry advisory committee we heard, but unfortunately before COVID we weren't able to come. It wasn't able to go to volition. It's something that we, as flood mitigation advisory committee members, need to factor in as we talk. So it's not from, oh, well, you know, if somebody just wants to build a 6-unit premises on a quarter acre. This is, well, you got impervious. What can we do to assure a future, but be responsible?
So what are you saying? You want to raise your electrical panel without too much paperwork through the building department? Is that what you're saying?
No, what I'm saying is that when we talk about development, how can we assure a future here in the community?
Oh, okay.
You're talking about, well, there should be no more development. We need to stop. We need to put a pause on it and figure out how to do it, or whatever we do, so that, you know, we're not hurting each other. What I'm saying is, in a situation like this, where you have an acre, because this industrial area is unique, where the lots are a lot larger than most residential lots. And if it's impervious as is, if you want to build up, because no one's going to do anything, no one's going to, let's say you want to put an indoor sports facility, or you want to do a restaurant or a art gallery. No one's going to do that at the current levels, because you're at the flood level. You need to raise it.
Okay.
So if I want to raise it, great. And if I want to do that, then I'm going to have to go up, and you may actually have to go above a little higher to accommodate the difference between the height restrictions.
Okay, but how are you gonna make it where you're not impacting the flooding?
Because it's impervious right now as it is.
No,
The water goes right up.
It's the worst.
So what, how do you combat that where you don't have one drop of water going
Because
into
if I
the
have a parking lot right now,
yeah.
Right.
the water is going right, it's going nowhere. If I have a green
okay.
roof, if I have, you
Okay.
know, the underneath the,
Have storage underneath.
storage underneath.
Absolutely.
Drywall.
Retention.
Retention,
Okay,
all these the technology that we have available to us. You want to, look, it's an investment component. If you want to do it, fine. You have to invest in that. But my point is if it's black, white, there is no black, white when it comes to this. You have to look beyond the box. And that's
Okay.
really,
Well, you're talking
Look.
about changing code of the village,
well,
no?
that's what I'm getting at. And that's what I said. We need to change the laws. See that the laws are not designed for the flood zone.
But
For
I think
correct-
what he's asking of the committee is to say that as a group, possibly we may want to like create like, we want to make a statement for the board to address these issues because right now we've been voting on or what we're thinking about is changing the zoning in the community so that we can build affordable housing throughout the whole entire community, right? So this actually goes in line with development because at the end of the day, if I'm also, because something I proposed yesterday was that we add to our laws or policies that when people do come and develop, they have to have a variety of percentage of AMIs. Or we can also add that when people come and develop, we have to ensure that they are working with our planning department, that things are impervious. Whatever they do, especially if they develop in the flood prone areas, that it's
They have to improve the
Okay,
the
but-
pervious
but-
surface.
but it's
Impervious.
Okay, that's fine. They want to develop, which is fine by me, but the laws have to change. I
Yes,
said
but-
that from the very
But
beginning.
all he's asking-
All of the planning board laws have to change. We have to make local
Yes,
laws
and
that,
he's
look,
not
there's,
saying it's wrong
Yeah, but
to
I-
just sit there. He's not saying that you're wrong.
Okay.
He's not saying that you're wrong at all. All he's saying is like, as a group, let's make a statement and send it to the board.
I think Andrew is saying,
I wrote the email. I sent the email out.
A very good time to do it because we have been talking about development. We have been talking about what we're trying to, in terms of rezoning. We've been talking about that. So if there's a good time to do it, now is the time.
So we can make recommendations to the
Yes,
board
right,
of
go ahead.
trustees.
Okay, then that's fine.
and I think,
But what are the recommendations gonna be? Is it gonna be?
guys, I'd like,
I think
don't
we
have
have
to
to
solve it.
acknowledge that Andrew is saying something is bigger picture. Is there is a anti-development bias in this village. And what he's saying is no. That if we do it right. That development is the good thing because development gives us the opportunity to change.
Fix the
And
problem.
if we're changing from 99% impervious, it gives us an opportunity to serve the business owners so they can do what's necessary to save their properties, save their businesses, improve their business. At the same time, they do the things that are necessary for us to improve our flood, our water retention system. It's an opportunity.
Absolutely.
He's painting a general picture, not specifically what changes we have to make, what bill, but to understand that development, particularly in the industrial area, is an opportunity. If a business owner sees that he can build his business, that we can help him build it in a way that he builds his business and we help the retention.
Okay, I agree with you. I
So
totally
let's
agree with
make a
you. I
recommendation
don't,
to the board.
so hang on. We had other voices that I think wanted to, Stephen, did you have something to
One
say?
thing I did want to mention was the whole thing you mentioned about the ACE project, and we should be able to, put that in the new flood, how that would change the flood. There were also like another half a dozen projects that are being studied now. So if each of those have to be factored into this, it just might be too complicated. Because if the ACE project's being in, these other projects have to be also.
Okay, so I think, I was thinking, I'd like to get Neil to present the updated comprehensive plan to us at the next meeting. Because what I don't know it well. Does anybody know the comprehensive plan well?
yeah, it says that flooding is the major problem in Mamaroneck.
Yeah, it's
That's
it's not very
what the point of
comprehensive.
what me wanting to get everyone the plan to see for themselves. They did the survey and it's the flooding is the number one thing.
Right. So my feeling on that plan is we have a potential now to make improvements, obviously, the Army Corps, maybe the dam, maybe the reservoir. a bunch of stuff, right? How is the comprehensive plan gonna change with those changes, right? The comprehensive plan is supposed to be a plan for the
To
next
guide our
10 years, to guide how we're doing stuff. If we don't have in that plan, let's say the Army Corps can reduce floodwaters 3 or 4 feet, the dam another foot. Okay, what does that mean
Yeah,
for the
but the
village?
dam and these other things are just being studied, so how can we
We
put?
can make it a something.
You know, I
To
don't
me,
know
it has to
I don't
be.
know if we can make that, assumption. It has to be studied, it has to be funded, I mean, it has to be
But
constructed.
right now, it's not even discussed in the comprehensive.
So what I
plan.
think also is in the comprehensive plan is, development is stated. But it is the right development. We do need services, we do need things in our community. We can't just keep on building the same type of, or having the same type of service, or building the same type of thing, whether it's a restaurant or something. We have to have a variety. So I think that was in the comprehensive plan. I've got to double check. Me and Brittany want to do that. Good job. But there are things, obviously flooding is at the top of the list, and there are a lot of studies out there or studies that are supposed to be studied or in the process of being studied. So at the end of the day, we have to keep moving. We have to try to keep moving because, or at least keep having conversations about it. Because if we wait for the study and then try to have a conversation later, it may correlate. It just may. And there's nothing wrong with bringing something up to the board, because by the time the study come through, it can be like, this is what we've been talking about. Now we have the plan to move forward instead of waiting for another month or two to get it together.
I don't think it's necessarily our job to wait for all these studies to be done before we can recommend things to the board.
They go hand in hand.
Right, they could go hand in hand, or it could be, here's what we think we should do, might lead to either hand in hand with a study already being done, or God forbid, another study being done. But I think this is not the same as the plan you're talking about. This is current. These are people now. They need relief now, or they may lose their property or their businesses because they cannot develop with the current laws. Am I in the right
It's
place?
challenging.
I know it's very challenging
It's very.
to get through.
It's daunting.
To get through the planning board or whatever boards you now have to get through, planning and zoning, it's,
And that was the purpose of
A
the
big
overlay,
challenge.
of actually creating an overlay that would
Right.
incorporate those concerns. And Tony, getting to your point, the parallel approach we were just talking about, people flinched again in that meeting. You were there when Bethany shared the fact that it's going to be a 2.6 or 2.8 foot
8.
difference. 2.8.
numbers.
Like, what? That's it? Well, wait a second. In conjunction to the dam, in conjunction to our parallel efforts of controlling the release of the water from Larchmont Reservoir, in conjunction to storm cleaning with the vacuum, every inch adds up. And then if you're able to raise your property a little bit more, you're now success. You're making a difference between catastrophic flooding and nuisance flooding, which to a homeowner, a property owner, a business owner makes a world of difference of keeping your lights on or being
Alright.
destroyed. So that's what you were talking about parallel, Tony, it all wraps back up, and that I think should be in the comprehensive plan. That should be reflected, the fact that these parallel efforts all lead to one thing,
Right,
which
so
is
I'm going to invite Neil to present to us at our next meeting. Where are they? What's going on? And, how can we recommend some structure?
Comprehensive plan.
Now, are we saying that the Army Corps is sort of on track? It needs to be pushed, it needs to be nudged, it needs to be nuanced, but it is on track. And it's on a 4-year time span. So are we now prioritizing the other things that we should be addressing? Should we be addressing what has to be done in the industrial area to support that add-on to getting 2 more inches off the top, if that's what it is?
Dave, I think I asked Lolani to get us updates on some of the things on the parallel approaches.
Yep.
So why don't, Lalana, you said you had some updates?
So this just based upon what you asked. Let me go back to my email. So we already talked about, because you asked me about updates on the silt removal, and we talked about it's not necessarily, we're not permitted yet to remove silt, but we're permitted to remove river rock and sand. And we're grateful, very grateful that we were able to purchase the excavator, and the fine people who are working on it is doing the job that needs to be done for right now. We are still working with the DC to get that full permit, and that process is moving as smoothly as possible right now, because we know how bad it can be. When it comes down to the Mermanic Dam study, and I apologize, today was a very hectic day for me with work, but I sent the most recent study about the reservoir that Gino had just sent to us on Friday, but it was late Friday afternoon, but I had to get permission of the board to be able to share it. I did share it so you guys can look at it. I know that Jerry and Gino have to share their notes, and it has to be submitted back to them. Huh?
GHD.
Good job. Have to be sent by the end of March. So they will write up their notes. If you had any questions, please let us know, but you guys have time to read it.
You sent
Why
that
you
to,
sent
you
it in
sent
an
that to our
email?
email today?
Yeah, actually just, no,
Oh,
while
just-
just in a meeting.
okay.
Okay.
Probably good, you know what?
Like.
All right, so we have the dam study. The dam study, great.
Just
Okay.
remember, I don't get
Yeah, I was
anything
looking for it.
from email. Of the
Okay, so what do
village.
you want?
They
He
don't
wants to get it in his,
personal email.
Okay,
Can I
so
go
you.
back to Andrew again?
we cannot
We
give.
gotta hold on that.
Yeah,
Gonna
but
get,
it's extremely important, Tony. It's, but I said 3 words and then I got cut off.
oh,
I encourage you guys to do your development the right way. But how do we go about that? We need to talk to the village attorney and change the
okay,
laws.
so Bernie, what I'm thinking, and this is why I guess I didn't want you to, is if, I think we need to get the comprehensive planner in here, because, hear me out. We have to see what he's got in the plan, because they recommend regulatory changes. What's in there on the regulatory changes?
I think the village attorney has to get involved too, because the village attorney has to change some of these
But
codes.
they don't know what to change. Believe me, if we don't have it in the.
But if we make suggestions like, look. There's regulations for dry wells. He builds a development. He does dry wells. He puts dry wells in. There's regulations, perk tests, and how many you have to put in the ground and all that stuff. They go by the regulations. If they can't meet those regulations, they have to retain it on the roof. I'm not saying that. I'm saying you need to have, you have to go by those regulations, and then there's other things you have to do. You have to hold it on your roof. You have to put retention tanks on your property. You have to do what?
Plantings.
Yeah, plantings. You have to do bioswales. You have to do all that stuff. But those are not in place right now. They're not there. So you need to talk to the village attorney and you have to say, give us all the planning boards, codes and the building department codes, and we need to get them together. We need to look at them and we say, okay, this is good, but we want to do more. We, as a community that floods, this is the list of things that you have to do to get a building permit. Well, we want to do all of these things. These are our codes from the local department, and these are the codes of the county. So we put them together. So if Andrew and his friends want to develop, they can develop. It's fine with me, but they have to develop the right way and the way we want it, not the way they want it and not the way the county wants it, the way we want it. I want no water to leave his property for 12 hours. For 12, not one drop of water. So however you have to figure that out, your calculations, however you have to figure it out, you have to figure it out. So the village attorney has to come up and he has to go and get all the building codes and say, these are the building codes, but we want more. And he has to write them out for Andrew. So when Andrew goes there, and there has to be incentives for him to build, where we make it easier for him to develop. Because he wants one thing and he, you know, one hand washes the other.
These are recommendations?
Yes,
So
that's,
that's all we've been saying is that we have this group has to make a recommendation. So all you're doing is just saying all the recommendations that you want.
yes.
So at the end of the day, we're all saying the same thing.
Okay, but.
We really are.
But what
That's the
recommendations are you making?
As a group, you have to come up with.
I didn't hear anyone say, let's call the village attorney. Not one person said that.
It's going to be part of the comprehensive. plan.
That's a recommendation.
And we don't talk to the attorney.
So we have to.
We don't. The board
We have
does.
to go through them first.
The board talks. The
3
board
years
don't.
ago,
Right.
3 years ago, we sat here with Balzino, our village attorney. Greg Cutler was sitting right here. We sat here and had pen to paper and start creating exactly what you were talking about. COVID occurred 2020, it stopped. I am going to go back through my archives. I would love to pull out what the drafts were. That way we together can look and see what that preliminary, it was very preliminary, it was read, cut no notes, but our village attorney, we paid the village attorney, we had consultants who sat here with us to start doing exactly what you're talking, exactly what you were saying.
So would the next step be to go back in what was already started, including what Bernie's saying? But do you need the village attorney back again? Do you need, Mr. Desai back, all in the same room possibly at the same time? Because we don't want to waste time. Okay, so then dig up your notes. And then I guess whatever, if you need to have like a vote on what this is what we're gonna ask of the board, then that's what we're gonna do. Okay?
Yes.
We need to
job,
get
good
the
job.
ball
Perfect.
rolling. I
Moving forward.
sent the
Thank you.
email, and that's what my whole point was.
Well done.
Get the ball rolling.
So can you keep that stuff out?
I
of
will,
yours?
yes, by the next,
Just so you know, also, that's the kind of stuff I've been looking at a little bit with these other buildings, like
Mhm.
what, like kind of going through, like one of the interpretations are you should use the best, the most appropriate surfaces. It doesn't necessarily say pervious surface.
Mhm.
So if we could change that little
like,
thing.
there's
up.
parking lots that are
Yeah.
pervious versus.
Yeah,
there's
so
so
it just
many
says,
things we
it just
can
says
do.
even cement, use the most appropriate
With the
cement.
green, with the grass that sticks out, I
Yeah.
mean, there's so many things that you
Yeah.
could do.
But actually, concepts like the 12-hour retention
Right.
is a general thing.
Sure.
Let the builders, let the contractors
Well,
figure
the
out,
engineers have
as
to
long as
figure
they
it
meet
out.
that standard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Awesome.
Hey,
That was productive.
can I continue, Bernie?
Yes.
I just sat there, I didn't even give up. Bernie,
Well,
help me
took me off, and I don't like that.
Sorry, I held it back as long as I could.
So
I got it.
I think as part of the comprehensive plan, we have to improve these codes, right?
Yes.
And that's where my head's at. I'm not saying this, I agree with you 100%. We have to manage the stormwater and these regulations. Stephen has been through them. They're complicated, but we may have to hire a code. To me, we might need a stormwater code expert. Who has done this? Which towns and villages have this? Who knows what they have? And I think Neil might be able to help us with that. Because, this is done, but then we.
Can anyone reach out to the building department? I mean, they should know, or no?
Our building department?
No?
Actually, she,
So why don't we do this? Let's make our next meeting, let's make the March meeting, stormwater regulations. We'll have the comprehensive plan in here.
We'll see, because we don't know.
That's
what the
actually,
schedule-
so let's have Neil here.
No, it's too
And
much.
then,
Well, he's probably gonna be on Zoom,
okay, that's fine, but that's really an aggressive
Because we don't know
agenda
people's
because,
schedule.
yeah.
You think he's enough for
I
one meeting?
think, and then we can have maybe in the April, we then have Carolina and the building department, yeah.
I mean, unless you want to do an extra meeting 1 month.
And nobody feels like staying here till 10.
All right, go ahead, Leilani,
Okay, I was on the dam study,
which we got, thank
which
you.
we got, you also.
Damn study, the damn study. Right.
Both.
Surface flooding study in the West Village, I did not get an answer from that. Bridge works, and I'm assuming that is the
You're welcome to walk all over my
Tompkins
property.
is, but we discussed it, Tompkins is under design and Waverly, they're
That's my
delivering
house.
supplies, okay? That's the update. The crushed culvert under Ralph Avenue,
See, I didn't forget you, Brian.
that's under design. Being paid by FEMA. The Florence Park ground and sewer water problems, that is under design. Emergency preparedness, so let me go back in my email. What Robert Ingenito, he is our,
Information officer.
yeah, information officer. I'm trying, just looking through the emails. Thank you. He's our information officer. He made a suggestion about, because we talked as a group that we wanted to try to do something for our community in terms of whether it was talking about the trauma or having some type of relief with trauma or with the emergency preparedness. He thought that working with LMC Media, that it would be a good idea to televise or have something on that can be played multiple times about how to prepare for anything, whether it's a flood, emergency disaster, something, and how to create these bags, how to get these supplies, how to reach out to your loved ones when you need them. So if that's something that the group wants to entertain, we can entertain that with LMC, and I think that would be a good collaboration. Or you could have it through a forum, or you can create a video. I think videos are awesome because
Why don't we get the volunteer fire department involved with that?
however and whatever you want to do. I was just saying that.
Because
with-
they're the first responders, right?
They are
I
the
mean-
first responders, but even before yes, and they possibly would know best, or in a way, how to just say, what are you going to pick up in your household when there's an emergency? What's the first thing? Do you have a bag and in your clothes closet to say, if we needed to leave our house right now, I have my emergency stuff on me? A lot of people don't even know. They don't even have like an emergency call list of where to go, how to go, and things like that. So those are the things that we're trying to prepare our residents for.
I like the idea of a video.
Yeah.
Because then you can put it in YouTube and you can put it in the website and anybody can link to it and watch it at their own leisure.
Yeah.
Yes.
You could do either, like I said, you could either do it in a forum form and LMC TV could record it, or you could do it just through LMC Media. And I keep saying it's TV, but I'm outdated. I'm outdated. It's LMC Media now. It's not LMC TV. We've done upgraded ourselves because of technology. I'm just still stuck in whatever decade that I am in. So
My computer, the Atari, okay?
So what was I think there was one more thing on there. Was there? The state preparedness? No, that wasn't us. That wasn't me. I think that was it. Was that
I
it?
think that was it.
Good job. Look at that. I got through it.
Can
Let's get
I,
thanks.
can I propose like another thing to get to be studied? Because I sent everybody that article about Larchmont, getting the
Mhm.
funding. 9 to 12 things are about undersized pipes. I just wonder how many of our drainage pipes are undersized, and how many of them, how many of them could be sized right.
Well, didn't they find that we hardly had any drainage pipes, especially in the Washingtonville industrial area? I think there's none in the industrial area. There's one,
One that goes right, yep.
and then maybe there's none in
But-
Washingtonville. So
We can get.
It's a double-edged sword though, because if you send more water into the rivers, what does that mean? It means that we get flooded faster. I mean, it's almost better
Depends on
that
where it comes
it's
from.
better that the pipes are ancient and the water gets
Well,
slowed
the
down.
whole
to be
thing,
honest with you.
all the pipes going down have to be
Retention.
expanded.
Yeah,
Wait, why don't we
Get
use
made
the
bigger.
pump, wait, Tony, why don't we use the pumps instead of backup county?
Yeah, that was great.
That's a good
Senator White
idea.
Plains.
Will it come back to us again?
From, just to go down Fenimore.
Yeah,
So also.
they said that the EPA would never
Oh,
allow.
wait, that was 1970 or 80 version of, it was a huge trunk line that was gonna go to Fenimore Road.
Yeah.
Out to,
They're gonna
marker
drill.
42 out in the sound.
Yeah.
That was exactly what, that was one of the original 82 plans, just dump it all out. But clearly that would not pass.
Too expensive?
Now today?
Yeah.
No, I don't environmentally, I don't think
Right.
it would. I don't think that's gonna be happening.
They're gonna make a tunnel through Fenimore.
Yeah.
Like the hill goes up and then it comes down, they were gonna go through it.
Right.
I have one more. So on
Out-
sandbags, on emergency
Okay.
preparedness, I talked to Jim Killeran of
Fuller.
Fuller. He's gonna, he and I are gonna have coffee and see if we can work together
On
on
sandbags.
sandbags.
And that's also part of emergency preparedness.
Do
Did
you
you-
think that's worthwhile? I said that to look into?
No, I mean, it's something that we can look into, because like we said, do we even have any, but we could put some in it. So it's not necessarily replacing, but just.
Program. He'll drop them off at your house.
Oh, no, he was
The
saying.
pipes?
about the
No,
pipes.
sandbag.
sandbag.
So
You've been
some
saying-
people want the pipe, some people want the sandbags. Okay, let's get it together, people.
Had a long day, huh, Andrew?
So, yes. Did you want to speak about, because last night what came up was the pumps, thank
Yeah,
you.
I goofed. I was possibly glad I wasn't there and then I
Well,
forgot completely.
so
What they just
what is-
discussed, the
The
pumps.
the temporary, like the pumps, the conversation obviously is gonna still be a conversation. But there are emails coming through saying that, with how. The debris that comes into the world, like, we've had large debris, like things that have blocked, the sheds, the
Right, so
containers,
yeah, I
it could be
saw
a
that
whole
email.
boat,
Right.
and that has happened.
Right, but that
and-
will, so in answer to that email, basically that email said, what's gonna happen to the pumps when a trailer truck blocks the flow? Well, there's no water it's gonna block up just like Ida. The pumps can't suck a trailer truck in and piss it out. So I don't think that that's a relevant question for the pumps. It's really, we have to, which Stephen has been saying, we have to control the floatables.
Yeah, I think what we need to do is maybe even put on the list of things to do is get somebody who can enforce it. It doesn't have to be building the pump.
Floatables, yeah. All right, let's finish with the pumps though. Go ahead. What else came up about the pumps?
Pretty much that was it because of that, because then it became that became the conversation about, where did the containers land before the bridge, after the bridge? It's just.
Yeah, it was, but they went on.
What was the
What?
general consent?
Well, let me look it up.
Lock the bridge
So
again.
what was the consensus of how to address this?
No, there wasn't any.
Was there any a consensus? of
Well,
how-
can't you shut the
It's
pumps?
gonna be it's gonna be
I-
a conversation.
I mean, that would be the logical. The logical answer was if that happened, you can shut the pumps.
Right, but I think the point of the question really was. If you put the pumps in, if a trailer blocks the pumps. There's gonna be no help from the pumps, which is true. There's gonna be no help from the Army Corps.
But isn't there something gonna be around the pump itself that
The pumps have a big trash guard, the pumps.
it's a trash car?
Yeah. But a trailer, I'm sure that trailer truck, even if it gets right up against the pump, it's still gonna suck water around.
It's still gonna suck, but why not make the outflow hoses go past the Anita Lane then?
Bernie, I think we really need to get a little H&H study on these pumps.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And I think the other question was in, which will come in a study, which was a better placement to place the pumps, because it has to be on land. It is not something that is in the water. It's something that has to be placed.
No, these pumps are designed to be in the water.
Okay.
This is their
That was
Katrina.
one of the
They did
questions.
30 or 40 of these at Katrina, after
Okay.
Katrina.
So, or either side, is it gonna be on, on the side of where, Columbus, or it's gonna be on the opposite end? Those were just questions that were asked us.
I should have been on the meeting because I have a video.
It's okay.
Do you have an idea where the outflow was gonna be in your head?
Tony, then why don't you?
We'll be there.
Why don't one point during the work session, do that presentation, all right? You already done that.
I sent it to the trustees.
But it's different than us talking about it than somebody who has really done a little bit more study.
I would
Yeah.
suggest as a member of the Fund Mitigation, I would encourage you as our chair to go to one of the work sessions, not that work, I mean, you're busy as it is, but I think you're best to explain this because these concerns that come up, I think you could explain them.
It maybe have a visual presentation because people react better to a visual
Want to
presentation.
see it?
Not right now. They're saying send it at the work
Public.
session.
Okay.
Work session.
On the agenda.
All right, so you're saying
The group was saying yes to that.
me email the BOT asking
I
to
think
present.
for the naysayers, you make the pipes longer, so it goes past Anita. So even if a tractor trailer hits Anita Lane and blocks up, you're still pumping the water out anyway, because the water goes so high and it hits the bridge anyway, it slows down the water anyway. So if you get it past Anita, which is not much further than the Halsted Avenue Bridge to Anita Bridge,
Right.
that much more that you connect the pipe that goes further down the river to get the water out, and then problem solved. Let the trailers hit the Anita Avenue Bridge. Let them hit it.
Let's try not to, but.
Yeah, but I mean, try not to, but if any debris hits it and clogs it up, it's
Tony,
not gonna
that's a-
affect
that's
the
a-
pump.
But that's a nuance, Tony. I mean, they gotta get the
broad
concept,
strokes.
gotta understand the concept.
Heating bill.
All right, so I'll see if I can get on the work session to show them my video.
Good job.
Yes.
Yay.
Look at that progress this evening. Everybody's voice was heard.
Oh, the other thing that should be on that list is the 95 hill.
Yeah, why do I feel like that was?
Oh, the land,
Oh, the mountain dirt.
Because no matter what you do.
All right, so let me ask, what do we know about the mountain?
It's the project that they've been doing, Tony.
That's-
Fly from Rye all the way down to.
I mean, has our village been in contact with them?
I spoke to,
Hold on for a second, I'm
Hang on, I
sorry.
can't understand.
When we talk like this, then the people who are on Zoom hear multiple conversations, so they can hear the real question. So if we can just one person at a time. Thank you. Go ahead.
All right,
The
so my question is, what do we know about the mountain? I know nothing except it shouldn't be there.
they're apparently gonna take it out of there once they finish Portchester.
Who is it, New York DOT?
Yes, it's the
Yeah.
state,
Stay.
It's what, Vern?
it's the state.
The state. Right, okay. All right, so do we know if the village has been in contact, Leilani, with them? I know you're new at this, but does anybody know that? Dave, did you have any discussions when you were in the power chair?
No, the discussions that I'm know about were on a different subject, but the same bottom line was,
We're gonna do what we
For
want.
those at home.
How about I'll send Jerry.
yeah, they
Saying, ask Jerry.
have their own agenda.
Well, once they remove it, what are they gonna do? Are they gonna put bioswales there?
Let's ask the whole question. We would like to know the demolition and the redesign of that area with stormwater protection.
It needs something. There needs to be some kind of a retained.
Where I came into that picture was the Environment Committee, and they were pursuing, that would be a fabulous place for just wildflowers. It's both
Natural
retention and
landscape,
natural, you know, and all these things, and
But when you go anyplace else in the world, every one of these clover leaves, they all have little ponds there to catch stormwater. So why don't we have that?
I don't know. Maybe because we flood,
Could be a great.
maybe because they don't care.
Well, let's ask.
I'm sorry.
and again, they just didn't want to, they didn't even want to talk to us.
Well, we're gonna have a list of stuff. I'm sending Leilani to ask.
I was gonna say, we have a secret weapon
Uh,
here.
Jerry had mentioned to get Gino involved
On the mountain.
for the mountain. Because it goes into the storm system. and then it goes into the river.
I'll CC Gino in the email. Okay.
Oh, mercy, I'm gonna have to give up a committee.
No, don't go.
All right.
One of them.
What else do we have for tonight?
That's it, let it be easy.
See, well, you know, the whole committee on those things.
We're about to say.
Is it okay? Do you get, you guys, is it okay when I do flood committee? That you get it?
No, because Dave doesn't.
It doesn't.
Dave has to talk to
Dave,
the-
let me get that straight
Yeah.
now.
I don't know why they won't give me a village email address, but they don't. I've kept asking. for it.
I kept, I'm
They
gonna
won't-
send you
I'll
the
ask.
contact that.
I know the
Okay.
contact. I know.
All right, can I have a motion to end this meeting?
Don't like
I- Yes. Okay, second. Aye.
Yeah.
Great, thanks, everybody.
Thank
Buenas
you.
noches.
There's a problem. They don't trust you.
I have my conspiracy.
Nobody answered.
Let's go talk
Tell me about a month.
Hey, guys, later.
Hi.
Take care.
The very fact that- the very fact.
Watch for knives.
I'm gonna give you one. I have a horse in my.
village
Just the head.
email address for security purposes, et cetera, et cetera. And the very fact that when they send out the